Everyone has their struggles. Only Jah can depend. Joy will come it in the morning, then endure it for the night. Things will only get better if we choose to make it right. I'm no better than no one, just a servant from Jah. Without you, life goes on. Know your purpose, start. Put a head on my shoulders and smile on my face. Every day I get older, and me still I give praise. I'm so blessed, I just kiss myself. I'm so confident in myself. It's my life and not no one else. That's why I'm grateful. Obviously I'm feeling good. I'm so happy and in the mood. Lovely life with some solitude. That's why I'm grateful. That's why I'm grateful. That's why I'm grateful. Ooh, oh, 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 oh. Kiss myself, I'm so confident in myself. It's my life and not no one else. That's why I'm grateful. Obviously I'm feeling good. I'm so happy, I'm in the mood. Love the life with some solitude. That's why I'm grateful.
For 2 days, the 5 o'clock hour is hot on Fit FM 96.7, www.fitfmja.com. Your life, your music with Lady D, Denise Gomez, inside the zone. Catch you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. And on Friday, yes, at 5 p.m. for Center Stage, the platform where voices are heard and people connect. From abroad to yard, Trelawney Melova.
It is the right fit with Chris Wilby Show and Fit FM 96.7. Hi there. My name is Chris Wilby, the Vibes Master, and I'm inviting you to tune in to the Chris Wilby Show on Thursday at 6 p.m. right here on Fit FM 96.7. It's the international show with a Jamaican vibe where information and music exist in harmony. It is music, current affairs, issues affecting relationship, and the hot topic of the week. So come on board, sit back, relax, be informed while being entertained. It's the Chris Wilby Show every Thursday at 6 p.m. on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Get your day started right with the Morning Connection. Weekday mornings, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on Fit FM 96.7. Connect with Julia Mikkel Benaya on the Morning Connection for news, business and artist promotions, great music and vibe. Morning Connection with Julia on Fit FM 96.7. Your
Listen to the Wayne Hall Show, where information meets music, from 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. FMJamaica.com, broadcasting from Stuart Castle, Duncan's, Trelawney, Jamaica. That's right, Fit FM, Trelawney's radio. Your life, your music.
You're listening to Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Fit FM is owned and operated by Communication Company Limited, located in Stuart Castle, Duncan's, Trelawney, Jamaica. We broadcast on FM 96.7 locally and is heard worldwide on Fit FM. Diverse voices and opinions inform, educate, and the lifestyle while promoting responsible community development. Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on Fit FM 96.7 and online at fitfmja.com brings you healing moments and destigmatize your mental and holistic wellness health features. Join Dr. Asha Mwendo, your holistic wellness practitioner, every first and third Wednesday, and psychiatrist Dr. Elizabeth Crossman every second and fourth Wednesday, as they dispel the stigma on mental health and help us to heal holistically our mind, body, and spirit. That's Healing Moments and Destigmatize, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Fit FM 96.7, Trelawney, Jamaica.
You're listening to Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
It's here to stay. It's Fit FM 96.7 on your radio.
Welcome, my listeners. How are you this evening? This is Healing Moments on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music. And I'm your host, Dr. Asha Mwendo. As usual, we have an awesome program lineup for you, and we want you to be part of the conversation. So remember now to join us. You send your messages or your voice notes on 876-478-9144 or 876-513-6668. As usual, Healing Moments join the call for elimination of violence against our women and girls. And this evening, I have an awesome guest lineup for you. Her name is Daniela McLaughlin. And we have a program. We're talking about spiritual warfare, and we know in this time that is an important topic to have. But you know the drill already. You're going to call a friend, get your sip, get your pen, and listen to this bit of music until we come right back.
People die.
weapons of war. Thanks, don't worry, I bring hope for you. In the words that I sing, you know, I'm just reminding you. But when you think it's over, whatever you're going through in life, don't forget God's love for you. Cause I know what love can do. Whatever you face in life.
Welcome back. Thank you, Dino, for reminding us that God loves us. It's something we need to forget, not to forget in this time. God's love is winning. I am really wondering what is happening with us in this country. We continue the femicide of our women and our girls. We need to stop killing off our females. Come on, man. We need to do better than that. This week, we found out that the young lady that went missing, as most of us had already feared, her body was found. Well, we are waiting on the final confirmation, but it is assumed that it is her by all intents and purposes. And that is a sad news. I'm using this to call out to our young girls and our young women. We all think that it can't happen to us until it happens to us. So many of our young girls are reported missing every week, and they are not. Some of them are gone off with male partners and all of that. Young girls, stop it, because some of these men, none of these men you are going off with have your best interest at heart. Because if they had your best interest at heart, they wouldn't be taking you out of school and away from your family. You're underage, they wouldn't be doing it. So they do not have your best interest of heart, no matter what they tell you. If you need attention and you need love, reach out to somebody if you feel broken and want to feel whole. Talk to someone. Someone is there who's willing to listen and to help you to go over that section of your life. And the Neighborhood Watch movement is calling on all of us as citizens, both male and females in this case. Let's look out for each other. Let's become our brother's keeper. And when you see something, say something. And I don't want to hear that you're not going to tell the police anything because you're fearful. There are so many ways to make a report these days that nobody has to know it is you unless you go talk to your tell. Right? So let's bond together. Let's make our community so uncomfortable for criminal elements that they have no place. And those who feel that they must continue will be easily caught because they don't fit in anywhere. Let's pull together. We need the sexual offenders registry to become public.
Yes.
I need to be able to check on why is this new person in my community? Who is he? Why is he displaced from where he's coming from? Especially those that are coming to our community and no one don't really have a background information on them, who they are related to, nor anything. We need to be able to check. However, Jamaicans, I'm calling on you now. Jungle justice make all of it become alienated. Jungle justice kills everybody, and eye for an eye, leave a nation blind. So we are going to say to you, we have to be responsible when this information is available to us, because you don't want to see a young man move into the community or hear that he's a sexual offender, and you go make sure you get rid of him before you do something else. No, that is not your responsibility. Your responsibility now is to be aware and to guard and to help him to manage whatever challenges he has. So it is not our duty now when we find out these information to use them negatively to make it be a problem. Because if you kill that man when you find out that he is like having these challenges, then no, our crime rate is still going to go up. So it's Jamaica is still going to have a problem. And our police officers have been coming into communities to investigate homicides and all of that. So we don't want to use information negatively. However, we should be able to get the information when needed. And we shouldn't have to be police or doctor or anybody else. But you're going to say, a part of the law, when I heard it yesterday, I really laughed when they said if you are going to take a job for this offender, you want to verify. How me go know? So me must fearful because this man is an offender. How am I going to know? And when I say I'm going to take a job with this man, how am I going to convince you that I think this man is an offender? And if I know he is, will you think I was going to take the job anyway? So some of the things we put into law, so I don't think sometimes we think them through properly. So it needs to become available to the public that when we need it, we can access it. And that is, most Jamaicans are saying that, right? Next thing we have to look at now, we are in the hurricane, officially in the hurricane season for 2024. And I'm asking all of us, let's not wait until we hear that a hurricane is 2 hours away from Jamaica, a few hours away from Jamaica to bomb rush the supermarkets and all of that with the money we claim we don't have to go and strip the shelves. Let's start preparing gradually. The season is coming. Anything you buy and put up for the season, when the season passes, it's still good and you can put it into your domestic cycle. So you must start putting your survival kit together. Have adequate water for your family members in case we have a hurricane and it becomes a disaster for us. Because natural events don't have to be disasters. So we are not saying we are in the disaster season. We are in the season of hurricane. And we are doing our best. We have to do our best to help that it does not become a disaster for us in Jamaica. So we need to have our adequate water, our survival kit together, put our non-perishable food items, thin things as we normally say, and dried goods, put them together that in case of anything, we have at least 2 to 3 days worth of food, more if you can afford it, to tide you over. Protect your important documents, wrap them up in plastic, put toiletries together. Don't only buy toilet paper, but buy every other little thing as toiletries that you will need. Soap, toothbrush, toothpaste. Make sure you start stocking up on your medication if you know you are someone who is relying on your medication and you're in a space where if anything happens, you may not be able to access medication. Start working on that. Start creating your evacuation route in case your house stops going. How your family going to move, which direction you're going to move in. If family members are not at home and it's hit, do they know where is the next meeting point away from home, the house? Because you tell them the house is gone, so they can't come home. Do they know where you are going to be evacuated? What is your plan, right? You have your backup batteries and all of that. Chargers, well charged up and put down. There are so many little things we can do to prepare ourselves in case of a natural event that can make it less of a disaster for yourself and your family and your community. This is the time to start checking on the senior citizens in your community, especially those who live alone. Ensure that their house is safe enough. And if it is not safe in your estimation, start having that conversation with them, deciding who will go to their rescue in the time of trouble, and let them understand as well. I know our senior citizens, when they are to move, they don't want to come out of their safe space, as it were. So let's work on these things, right? And don't wait until you hear of a natural event to start preparing and rushing, and then it becomes a disaster in your headspace, even if it's not a disaster, right? So let's start doing the things we know we need to do. And I'm also reminding our government agents, our municipalities, everybody, the road between Duncans and Clarkstown still need fixing. It's still bad. It's still rough. It is hard. It's hard on us. It's hard on the vehicles. So please, now make 2024 done. I will wonder if we not forget the promises that were made to us, right? We are still waiting. In our wellness tip today, we are reminding our men this month is we have Father's Day coming up, and I'm asking us, please, we have so many good fathers. Let's celebrate them. Let them feel special. And the ones who are not so good, let's remind them of their responsibilities in a loving way, right? And June is considered Men's Health Awareness Month as well. And we know it is said that our men are not naturally health seeking, but I'm calling up on our men, please start taking care of yourself. Develop a new habit of loving yourself enough to know what is happening with you. Go get your executive health checkup if you haven't done yet since the year started. Fix your eating habits. And we want you to drink, but not too much alcohol. Drink more water and healthy juices, right? And very important, practice safe sex. And for goodness sake, practice sensible driving. We are losing too many of our men, and then they are also taking our loved ones with them on the roads. And those who ride the bike with the crazy acts you guys are doing, come on, man, shape up. Nobody not too young to die, nobody not too old to die, but nobody should want to die before their time, right? So let's practice safety for our men. That is our wellness tip for this evening. So now I promise you that we have a wonderful guest in studio with us this evening, and we'll be talking spiritual warfare, right? And we know spiritual warfare refers to the belief that there is a struggle between good and evil. And it's something that is around us. My father would say before he started his rest is, it's a cosmic way of life. These things are happening. And so religions like Christianity, Islam, and Judaism subscribe to the belief. They accept that it exists. However, some religious groups, though, some denominations, I should say, is very skeptical about embracing this whole spiritual warfare thing, depending on how you spin it. They are very fearful of hearing that there are evil elements walking around in the air. They prefer to hear that is the warfare between the devil and God. They don't want to break it down to any other level. So there are so many different levels to look at it. But the goal of spiritual warfare is basically to resist temptation and sin and overcome evil powers and influence, and also grow spiritually. And we know that no human being can manage any spiritual warfare without God is guiding them. So my guest this evening is going to tell us about her journey with the spiritual warfare. So my guest this evening is Daniela McLaughlin, and she's the author of the book, What I Learned Growing Up Around Demons, right? And so this is the book, if you're watching us on Facebook. So this is the book. And at the end of the program, she will tell you how you can get a copy of the book. And the good thing about it for me is that she's from right here in Trelawney. She's from Duanville, Trelawney, Jamaica. And she is a young lady. And at this time, I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell you a little bit more about herself. Daniela, welcome to Healing Moments.
Hello, listeners. Thank you for having me, Dr. Mwendo.
Right.
So, I'm an author. Published my book in October 2023. My name is Daniela McLaughlin, and I am just 21 years old. Oftentimes, people say I look like 12, but I don't fear. And it's really about how it started before I was even formed in my mother's belly. So the devil would have tempted and tested and tried my mom, and then because he didn't want my mom to have me, and so because my mother gave birth to me, he started to try to harm me. So my book takes the readers on a journey throughout my life. It's 400, and people always ask me, did I sit down and write all of this? I think it's by the grace of God. No, Dr. Mwendo, I'm glad that you mentioned the violence that's against the women, because I think that Jamaica's crime problem is a spiritual issue. I really believe that, which means you have a church basically in everybody's backyard. Drive from Trelawney to Mandeville and you will see what I'm talking about. There's a church everywhere. And I think that because of that, we really shouldn't. Okay, so I'm from Duanville, Trelawney. Yes, I'm from Duanville, Trelawney. Big up to all my family members. So I jumped right past that. Most churches per capita. Is that we should be seriously a problem? How is it that we're
Daniel? Now, though this is not part of our main conversation, but it fits right into it.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you a question now. I know we have the most churches, and we keep on having more churches than the last time the survey was done, because I have seen a few new ones that I'm saying, and that one is there. So even in my little community, Clarkstown, I think we have over 30-something churches now, almost. Because recently there are 2 new churches that I have found out are in Clarkstown, still don't exist, right? So we continue having churches. Some of them come from people breaking away from their original church because they become fall out of love with their churches. But does churches per capita convert to Christianity, or people who are practicing to live as God wants them to live?
Wonderful question. I don't believe so.
That's it.
But I think that the church has power. Jesus had given the church the authority to tread upon the serpents and the scorpions
Mhm.
and over the power of the enemy. We have the power to stop it through prayer by declaring life over our nation. We have the ability to do that. The church needs to get up, go on the streets, evangelize, tell the victims who have slipped and attacked, tell them about the healing power of Jesus just by doing that. That's what I believe.
And I tend to, for churches, don't understand the power that lies within their breasts. And some know but are afraid of embracing fully what God has called them to be. And then there are some among us again who are aware of the power, but they cannot embrace the power because they refuse to live in obedience to God's will.
Yes.
Because one of the tapping in of God's power and God's grace and God's healing power is to live according to his will. And I don't believe that most of us who are going to church even understand God's will for ourselves, much as the will that we have to fit into his transformational grace and healing power. A lot of us are afraid. I remember once I heard a pastor, he's no longer in Jamaica, but he was at a funeral, and he said, and what he said fits into our fear. He said he have a desire within his heart one day to be at a funeral and feel the power of God coming upon him and call the dead to life, and the dead comes back to life as it was in the Bible days. But he's afraid of trying it and it fails. So his fear alone of failure, his fear alone dictates that he believes, but God help me, I don't fully believe.
Yes.
And a lot of us who are part of church or go to church, some of us have fallen out of love with the way our churches are being run because we know that is not, they are not falling within God's guidelines. And so sometimes persons like us, we are judged for saying we can't conform to this nonsense because it don't fit into God's will and plan for our lives. But we have seen what God can do, have done, not in our own lives, but can do in the life of others. But sometimes we are afraid to tap into the power of God because we are fearful that because our lives are not fully in line with his, we might be consumed. And we fail to realize that God already knows our frailty.
Yes.
And he will not release the power upon us that we can't manage. But the more power we will be able to tap into is depending on our relationship with God.
That is true.
And that is what I personally believe. I have seen God work in mysterious ways. Even this week, up to yesterday, we had a manifestation of how God's Holy Ghost working in our lives. This morning, I had another manifestation of some of us believing in something, praying for something. Don't tell anybody else what we're praying for. And we got answers up to this morning. So we know God does these things. He works. But that's not what we're going to talk about so much this evening. I want my guest, she gave a little introduction already of what her book is about. But I believe the best, Daniela gave an hint to say demonic forces were already in play in her life before even birth. So tell us, you're here, you have your chapter 1, so the beginning of war and your mom's fight and all of that. Tell us a little bit about that. What are you talking about? What war? Who are you warring against? Who was warring against you?
Okay, so the war is against the enemy. So when my mom was younger, she would have told me stories about how she wrestled against the enemy. Being that some people won't believe in this, and some people around us trying to harm us. My mother would idea, and she was about how she would have to kill herself, to harm the baby, to not give birth, would have flooded her mind. She called her to walk with him. The enemy tested her, jump out in the truck. That is the enemy. That is not Jesus. That is not another person. The enemy comes to steal, to kill. First of all, she didn't know she was pregnant. I'm from an impoverished family. You can know my story. We dealt with backlash. We didn't have the money, honestly. And my mom, could she found out she was pregnant with me, she was anxious. Mom was so discouraged within the church because she was hopeless. Oh God, you can't take care of this. Mom, she stopped going to church and she was encouraged. Don't worry. When I hear that story, I know that that's God. I've got this child. I will take care. I was born.
Okay, so we come down now. Part 2, the war is on. Tell us about what war was on and what did you do about it?
Oh yes. So I'm born now. I'm going to school sick. Doctor didn't know what was wrong with me, etc. And I didn't eat well growing up.
And just say you were skinny. Are you not skinny now?
So my mom had to put on a shirt and I was bullied. It's a spiritual fight against child. I got dreams, I got visions, and I couldn't understand. It's probably sick. Psychology says that we only remember my family, they were outside. And I went and said, Doppy, well along. A lot of times I say that people don't believe that to suffocate you because you could. But I woke up and I just saw the bodies of 4 things. I can't tell if they're animals, if they're human. And they were trying to hold me down on the bed, trying to from then the enemy wanted to kill me. And so when people say they just died out of nowhere, I think that the devil really sent agents to kill them in their sleep. Another vision I remember, and my cousin lives on a hill. Now as I'm going on the hill, I see this slender, this tall figure. I can't see the head, but the person is throwing some huge stones at me in this vision. And I'm crying, I'm screaming, I think the important thing, there's a force that would just push it to the side. So just visualize something to the side.
Yes.
And from that, but I know that Jeremiah teaches that the Lord knew Jeremiah before he formed in his mother's womb, and he had set him apart for a mission. Now, he thought of us before we were born, and because of that, he has a purpose and a mission for each and every one of us. I believe God has a purpose for me. He has a mission for me to complete, and so the enemy tried to war against what has placed within me to do. I grow older now, I'm 21, I still get visions, and I will tell you about it. So my ankle was sprained May 5th. If you see me today, you won't think my ankle was sprained because it has healed. I was going to put on, everybody keeps asking me, how did you fall? Was the stairs wet? Was it the shoes? Anything was in the way? And I keep telling them no. Walk up on it backwards. I know the stairs. Well, no. I remember 1 week before I went to herbs person. I don't think I should go to the doctor. They tell me, they give me medication for something I could go and use aloe vera. When there was a pain, I was going to check it out. But the week went to church, and I started singing this one thing. I started singing, I love you, Lord, over and over. Just this one line, I love you, Lord, I love you, Lord. But immediately after I said that, there was a vehicle agitated, and he wanted to hit me with a. I continued walking, and I was singing same way. I'm in the car. What does this vision mean? And when a person decides to follow after his ways, to obey, I was going to Jesus. I was going to church, and I was singing, I love you, Lord. So I was taking on to serve him and to keep. Immediately after saying, I love you, Lord, the enemy wanted to hit me. He wanted to run me over with the car. So that's because you're an evil person. It's not because you're thinking evil things, because people have said that, oh, it's your mind. He comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And once you decide to do the will of the Lord, go with a car. So that's something to remember. It's not you're a witch, because people have said those things about me. Why is it that I'm the only one getting these dreams? It's my more. I need to read my Bible more. Once you decide to be a child of God, the enemy is after you like a roaring lion. He's seeking you to devour.
And that is, I hear you, and I agree with you on a lot of what you have said. One of the things we know definitely is only two paths. Either you're walking with the Lord or you're walking with the enemy. And if you're walking with the Lord, the enemy and the enemy will be going in opposite directions. So you're going to always buck up. You're going to always buck up. Anytime you not walk up in the devil, you are going to the same direction.
Right.
You need to check your journey. But in chapter 6, you said witchcraft, witches, and warlocks, demons, and demonic covenants.
Oh, yes.
Tell us a little bit about what do you mean by that?
Okay.
Where witchcraft come? We don't have witches anymore. They say witches and warlocks are dead, and it's old-time story, and these were all fictions. And we know that demons really don't exist unless it is in our minds and all of that. And before you go into that, I know we tend to say demons are not real, demons don't exist. And if something is wrong with a child of God who encounters demons, something was wrong with Jesus. And something was wrong with his disciples when they were casting out demons of this young woman, and we were warned about if the house is cleaned out and nothing is in there, 7 more demons come to possess. Were these fictional stories in the Bible? Think about it.
Yes, so I have been experiences, but I experiences with witches. I think the Lord was using, doesn't talk enough about witchcraft. The church is preaching prosperity gospel.
Let's back up that a little bit. I think you feel the Lord was using it to bring the awareness of witchcraft, not to teach witchcraft.
Oh yes, right. That's what I mean. To teach me or to bring me awareness about witchcraft, because he needed somebody to know about it. I remember that the witches are in the church. Why? The church isn't, and so witches are comfortable within our churches. And immediately as I looked around, I locked her to describe. The lady was looking at me as if I was her enemy. The lady was looking at me, and when I looked back, she disappeared. She was no longer in the church. Teach me that's a witch. No, the witch, no. The Lord was telling me about her. That's why she was looking at me like that, because she knew. I remember one night I was going to sleep and I just saw she was about to jump at me. I had an open vision. That's another witch who lived next door to me. So I lived next door to a witch once when I was in Manchester. This man hated me. And I remember every time when I lived there.
So if I hate you right now, you're going to say I'm a witch?
Oh no! The Lord showed me that he was a witch. Oh, Julia asked me that if she hate me now, that means she's a witch. No, the Lord showed me that this man was a witch. I saw him in visions trying to harm me. I heard his voice. I heard him speaking to me, whispering evil things to me. So that's how I know it was a witch. Because that's when I realized that he was a witch, when God started to reveal his actions.
Okay, so quick question. Okay, to answer Julia, if you hate anybody, you're not a witch, but the demon working through you. Anyway.
Yes.
Simple as that. We don't look at the little things we do that is either good or evil. Spirituality is always in play.
Yes.
And if you're walking around hating people, you're the devil's viceroy. You're working on the devil's camp, in the devil's camp. It's as simple as that. But the question I want to ask you now, you have demons, you have witches. What's the difference?
Yeah, demons, you have witches.
So you say you talk about this man's a witch. Or they are just all titled because of different things.
So which is a female, the warlock is the male to complete their mission. So if a witch wants to kill you, he will send a demon to your house. If a witch wants to kill you, they will send an accident, an agent that steers accident or cause you to cause an accident, to die. So they call up, they conjure spirits. You have necromancers who go to the graveyards to call up the souls of the dead. And so when you dream and you say you see your grandmother or your grandfather offering you something or asking you to do something or calling you on a journey, that's a witch. That's a demon, sorry. That's a spirit that has convinced you that it's your dead loved one. So witches, they control the demons, they control the spirits. They're agents of the devil, and they're just on mission to complete his work. We have to remember that the Holy Spirit he's omnipresent. The devil isn't. So in order to harm people in Kinglands, in Trelawney, in Mobile, everywhere, he needs witches in these communities. The Bible declares that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So I'm not fighting Julia. I'm not fighting the Dr. Mwendo, but we wrestle against principalities and powers, rulers of darkness in high places. These rulers of darkness and principalities are the witches.
Okay, got you. So the witches and warlocks are the ones who the devil have as his servants, who now command the work through the demons that the devil working with.
Yes.
I get you. Okay, continue now. So you have had the experience of the witchcraft. You have something here that talk about the cool everyday spiritual wars. What do you mean cool war?
That's an incredible question.
Yes.
Because the witches, that's a dark side.
Mm-hmm.
The cool, incredible war speaks about, how I was coming here today and I started feeling ill. You know, that's simple. That's every day. Not everybody gets to experience witchcraft and witches and warlocks. Another one is, you're about to sing and your throat start hurting you. So it's things like that. How I was fearful when the Lord told me to sing at church. How I doubted myself when he said I should write the book. How I felt like people wouldn't read it and I didn't have enough to talk about. So that's the cool everyday wars.
Yes, so the everyday little demonic things happening to derail you from your purpose.
Right.
But it don't seem like anything big. And if you raise an awareness, people say, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's happening every day.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that bad things happen every day because the devil never stops breaking.
Yeah.
He
But
don't
they
take breaks, no
also
holidays.
don't realize that fear, that God didn't give us a spirit
No.
of fear. So when you feel fearful, that's the enemy
At
trying
work.
to prevent you from doing his will. Because I wouldn't have published this book if I allowed the enemy to drive fear into me. So that's warfare, that's spiritual warfare as well.
Okay, so you have given us the stories of the visions you have received of the enemy of evil, right? But down here in chapter 8 now, you talk about hearing and seeing and dreaming of God and his directives. So tell us about those experiences and how you know the difference between when the enemy is this epicenter of your visions and when God is the center of your visions.
Okay, so that takes some amount of discernment. You have to know Jesus. So from you know Jesus, you will be able to discern when it's the enemy and when it's really God. But I don't love to share these visions because I think people love to say, no one see God, you can't see God. Who are you to see God? But when Jesus reveals himself to you in vision, that's salvation. That's him comforting you. And you have to take into context the times that he revealed himself to me in vision. When I asked him, should I publish this book? I had a vision that I was within a garden and I heard the voice of God. How do I know it's the voice? How do you know it's the voice of God, Daniela? I know the voice of God. It's comforting, it's reassuring, it speaks truth. And he said, go ahead and do that thing that you started. And I was saying, Why you tell me to do this thing? Me already started. Why you repeat that? So in that, I know that it's the Lord saying, go ahead and publish the book, because He said, go ahead and do that thing that you already started, and I had prayed about it. Another time, I was scared. I felt such a spirit of fear come over me one night, and I could not sleep. And I prayed. I said, God, please watch over me as I sleep. Please show up as I sleep. And I remember I just saw a bright light just appeared. It was at the window. I didn't see a face. I didn't see a body, because people might come and say, describe God if you see. Describe Jesus. if you see Jesus, so you look. So I didn't see a face. Hello. But I saw this huge, like a giant. It was like a king of glory, and this bright light. If you looked at it long, I felt like it could blind you to how bright it was, and it was white, and it was a huge giant, and it just stood at my window, just shining within my room. So I know that's the Lord showing up and comforting me and saying, hey, here I am watching over you. So that in essence, that's what it's about.
And you know, if you are a child of God, you should know the voice of God.
Amen.
It's as simple as that. And so hearing God's voice is a relational issue. You have a relationship with Him, you know when He's talking to you. You don't have a relationship with Him, He has to be pushing you and nudging you and trying to get you to hear His voice. So the more your relationship develops with God, the more you will hear His voice, the clearer you'll understand it. And sometimes you don't even ask Him to repeat. However, long relationship don't mean that sometimes when God gives you a message and He speaks to you, you're not going to still ask questions.
Yes.
I am still asking questions sometimes.
Why? I'm asking why.
Asking Him so many questions. You don't know anybody else, God?
Mm-hmm.
Why me?
Why
I still ask why me, because it's a relational journey. And I accept that the devil is so real, it is not funny. And when you spoke of being ill growing up, it connects, because a lot of times when persons are called to be agents of change, agents of transformation, the devil tried to kill them for a little bit.
Yes.
He tried to stop them early, you know. And I won't say much more on that, because I know we don't have the whole day, and I want Daniel to tell us down in chapter 9 the scariest dopey stories. Growing up, I always loved when my grandfather would tell us dopey stories. So is them kind of stories?
So yes, when I was younger, I actually saw Dopey, that's nonsense. But I saw him, he was staring at us. And when I've experienced scary Dopey stories, like I don't even think one of them I can share. And I have felt hands touch me. I've had at one point I thought I was depressed. It's so sad. I have seen faces in other people's face. I have seen people change into bears and all type of creature. So those are the scary Dopey stories that I talk about.
So Daniel, could it be that you are seeing these beings because you already predispose your mind to believe that these things exist, and so it is from your looking at life why are you seeing these things?
Okay, so it's like when people say, "Oh, what you think happened? Your mind control you." But I asked the Lord. I was saying, God, why is it that I keep seeing these things and keep having these visions? I deal with demons, but I don't believe that it's because I'm thinking about it. As I said when I started, I think God wanted to teach me about how spiritual this world is, and He wanted me specifically to do that, because not many people come and share these bold testimonies. Not many people come and share how serious how spiritual this world is, and how there are dopies, there are spirits, whatever name people want to call them, going around doing the devil's work. But
So
don't
I
believe
remember in the Bible, it's a Bible story, a Bible dopey story.
Mhm.
Jesus' disciples were out on the lake. They were in a boat, and Jesus was coming. And they saw Jesus coming. What did they think was happening?
They thought it was a ghost, and they're
Why
water.
dopey not exist?
Mm,
Why would they think it's a ghost from way back in Jesus' days?
incredibly.
You know, so these are some of the
That's it.
questions I ask people.
Mm.
Dopey don't exist. So is who Peter them they think are come to? Why were they afraid?
Mm.
Why did Peter need an assurance that it was really Jesus
Yeah.
and not some other being coming? So these things we need to look into. We know when Saul went to the witch of Endor, he saw a being.
That one.
Was it Samuel? Is the Bible true when it says the dead knows not anything?
Mhm.
So if Samuel was a servant of the Lord and he knows not anything because he's now dead, Saul could not have been speaking to Samuel. So who was he talking to? Because Saul saw something.
Yes.
And he had a conversation with something. So it must have been a demon.
But Dr. Moenda, sorry, I think that Christian, because the non-Christians, they know about these things. The devil fear Jesus.
But could it be that did God? So they have to hold on to something else. That's why they believe now the evil.
Right.
Could it
No.
be?
No, I think spiritual warfare is the truth, and it's true that demons and devils are existing trying to harm us, and we see it in the Bible. So I think Christians believe in Jesus, and so because we believe in good, and we know that the enemy hates Jesus, the enemy will also hate us.
You know, and I'm gonna say this, and I want any Christian who think I'm lying to. You have our numbers, you know, send a message to us. I believe every child of God, every Christian child of God, not Christian nation like Jamaica is a Christian nation, but a true child going to church, Christian child, knows and believes and accepts that demons exist. Most of us are afraid to speak our truth because we are afraid of being judged.
Yes.
I believe as well that there are more of us that God has given the responsibility to speak of these truths, but because we're afraid, we do not take up the mission. Because we want to seem normal and we want to fit in.
Yes.
But a question I want to ask you before we go down to the wrap up. Do you believe that more of the evil that you have seen, physical manifestation of the demons, Doppia, whatever we want to call them, do you believe that more of them are around us than we are seeing because we refuse to use our spiritual eyes?
Yes, definitely. I think because we are afraid of them. I think many people are afraid of seeing it around us. And if you are a person that have the gift of this, helps you to decide the true spirit and the false spirit. So you will see demons and you will know when it's the Holy Spirit. So the people who have that gift, they are able to see them, to smell them, have discernment. And other Christians should is good and which one is bad. So they are around us. We sleep. This is why it's when we sleep, we get the attacks and the dreams and the visions. They are around us. They are.
Right. And we know we all have different spiritual gifts as well. Some spiritual gifts are easier to embrace and accept than some, but all have their place and time. So you have words Christians never discuss and the meanings.
One of these words is astral projection. So astral projection is when the witch they travel, and they, you know, when they watch cartoon and you see the witches traveling on the bridge, and they're leaving their homes, traveling to find you all the way in Iceland or Ireland to come and harm you. So that's astral projection. But Dr. Mwenda wanted to say that people who are in the world understand spiritual warfare and they believe in demons. I was traveling in a taxi and I heard the man say, he was singing, me I go send a dopey figure your cancer. And I stopped. I was saying, what does he mean by that? But then I heard the spirit of infirmity. He go into a witch to send sickness on somebody. So it's real. Spiritual warfare is real. You have the different spirits. You have the spirit of infirmity. You have the spirit of death. So many different spirits. And
right.
You have
so
to know them.
You have 2 minutes, 3 minutes to wrap up. So you 2 minutes to wrap up. So you're going to tell us about your book, how persons can access copies of the book. So let's do that first before you give your final word.
Okay, so you can get my book, What I Learned Growing Up Around Demons by Daniela McLaughlin, DANIELLAMCLAUGHLIN. It's about spiritual warfare. It's really my bibliography. It tells us about my life story, what took place before I was born and what continues to happen now that kill me, to destroy my destiny and to harm me. So that's in essence what the book is about. God told me to write it. I didn't just make these things up out of nowhere. They include testimonies, there are visions, there are dreams, there are words that Christians need to know. You will be encouraged. It has explanation. I have scripture there. Everything. Prayer, certain spiritual warfare prayers. You need these prayers in your life in order to overcome spiritual warfare. So this book will tell you about spiritual warfare and will teach you how to overcome it by the power of God and by His grace.
Thank you, Daniela. It's good having you this evening with us, talking about the impact of demonic forces in our lives and their real existence in this world. And we must become aware if we intend to win the war against them. Bearing in mind that the war can only be won if we become true vessels that God can use. So my inspirational moment for you this evening is to remind you, spend time in building a personal relationship with God. And that will guide you into all truth. He never fails. He never lies. And so my guest, Daniela McLaughlin, I pray that your books will sell, you will grow in grace and strength from God, and as the demonic forces get stronger, because I believe if this is your calling and this is your vision and your purpose, it's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder, but you are going to grow stronger in how to manage and to navigate. So I pray all that moments on Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music. I am your host, Dr. Asha Mwendo, bringing you an awesome program this evening. We look forward and stay in tune with Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music. Good evening.